Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about beginning a yoga practice. So I have a few videos on here with me just doing simple yoga flows in the morning, but on my Instagram it's very filled with yoga pictures, postures, and different things like that. For those of you who don't know, I am a certified yoga instructor, and one of the most common questions I get, and I believe most yoga teachers get, or people who practice yoga in general, is how do I get started? This is a very it's an interesting question because everyone starts yoga for different reasons and start in different ways. And with this crazy boom in the popularity of yoga in the US, a lot of people want to know, how do you start? So I'm just going to share with you my yoga beginnings and how I got started and how you can get started as well. So I am 26 years old now, and I would say I was first introduced to yoga when I was around 16 years old from my father. It wasn't something I ever, I didn't go to any classes or anything like that. He just, he talked about the spiritual side of yoga more than anything. And I think when I was about 18, I bought a Rainbow Mars DVD to do yoga to get in shape, not for any other reason. And I loved it. Fast forward a few years later, I was in downtown Manhattan walking and passed a Lululemon Athletica store. I didn't know what the store was, and there was a girl doing yoga in the window, and I was fascinated. So I was fascinated that she was doing yoga in the window at this place, and I applied for a job there. So I did not get hired for the job in that location, but I moved to Florida and got hired in Florida. So being there, I worked, half the staff were yoga instructors, and we had free yoga every Sunday. And the location I lived in, there were 5 studios all in a 20-mile radius, and there was a lot of yoga going on around me. So it really opened my eyes to the whole yoga world. But before that, I worked in Harlem, and there was a Bikram yoga studio just up the block from my job. And if you have never heard of Bikram yoga, it is a yoga class that is 90 minutes long. The room is 100 plus degrees, and you get really sweaty. There's 26 postures. Each posture is repeated twice. And that was my first ever professional, I guess, yoga class that was not at home in a DVD or in gym in college. It was a real class. And it was intense. It was a really tough class. And when I told people that was my first experience with yoga, they were like, whoa, that's a tough one. That's hard. But I loved it. I fell in love with the heat and the sweat and the release. And I felt so good after the class. They had a 7-day special where it's $25 for 7 days unlimited. And I went to that class every single day after work. I was hooked. And I told myself, I want to do this all the time. I want to be a yoga teacher. So moved to Florida, worked at Lululemon, started taking yoga classes, had my son, came back to New York, and I was fortunate enough to be able to take the time to do a yoga teacher training program that I graduated from back in October. So that was my yoga beginning, I guess, till now, which is between 16 to 26. And it was a process, I guess, and yoga kind of found me and grabbed me when I needed it the most. And that's kind of what I see happen to people. They hear about it, they might try it, leave from it for a while, and then they're back on it for whatever reason, something going on in their life, or some kind of illness or anything like that. So what I would recommend is to start at a studio. If you can, take 1 or 2 classes just to get comfortable in your body, just to get familiar with the poses. And you don't have to continue to go if that's something you can't afford or you just don't have time for. Once you kind of get the feel, there yoga is such a broad, large practice. There are so many different asanas, but once you get the basics down, you can do your own research at home. You can go to Yoga Journal. There are a lot of other yoga blogs. Instagram is a great place for inspiration, but I feel like in certain areas it's best to be talked through what it is that you're doing instead of just looking at a picture, because you might not necessarily know how that person got into that posture, and you want to make sure you're safe and you don't hurt yourself and you're doing it correctly. So yeah, that is what I would say. You can use social sites. YouTube is great now. There are so many yoga tutorials that take it really easy, really slow. Decide why it is that you want to practice yoga and just learn about it. Do more research. Know that there is way more to yoga than just the physical practice, than just these beautiful pictures that we see of these amazing postures. It's so much deeper than that, and it will be a practice that I live with for the rest of my life. I still consider myself very much a beginner because that is how deep it is, and I'm in love with it. I feel like it has brought such joy to my life. It has helped me handle tough situations in ways that I might not have before. So if you ever consider trying yoga, maybe you should reconsider. Find a class, get a DVD, find a YouTube video. Just take some time with yourself. And my favorite thing to do is to just recommend for people to get a mat. You can find a really inexpensive yoga mat at Walmart or like a Burlington Coat Factory. They have them for $5, $8. Then the prices go up. But if you're just starting your practice, get a mat so you have that sacred space. You have that space that is your time for practice. And even if you don't feel like moving, you can have a seat on your mat and write. Have a cup of tea, just sit and meditate, just sit in silence, sit and think, sit and pray, just stretch, right on your mat, to get comfortable with your mat, to get comfortable with just getting in that position throughout the day. And I wish you luck in your yoga journey. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you again so much for watching. Bye.